Meghan Markle is truly one of the most dangerous public figures on the world stage at the moment. She needs to be stopped.
Meghan Markle's failed plan to bag a billionaire as her marriage to Prince Harry becomes more unhappy by
February 2026. Dubai International Airport burned under harsh desert lights, polished floors shining like mirrors while rows of private jets sat outside like trophies on display.
Meghan Markle is always attempting to, shall we say, build relationships with very, very, very rich.
The air carried that high-stakes energy only a place like Dubai can create, where billionaires land quietly and massive deals get whispered behind closed doors. When Meghan Markle stepped off her private jet, she clearly expected a full VIP spectacle. Red carpets, non-stop cameras, and that celebrity spotlight she believes follows her everywhere. She arrived dressed to dominate the room, styled perfectly, ready for what she privately called her Power Week during quiet conversations behind closed doors. Her schedule was locked in tight. Private meetings with luxury brand executives were already arranged, along with strategic discussions with powerful media figures. There was even a discreet dinner planned with billionaire investors connected to the global golf world. Every step of this carefully planned trip had been mapped out like a chess game.
She will find a way to bounce past him to some other taker who might actually just love the guy. She will take her royal kids, who can still go by prince and princess, and find
each move designed to build influence and serious money. Then, in a split second, everything flipped. Just minutes after landing, the atmosphere changed fast. Airport officials approached her calmly but with firm authority. No friendly smiles, no VIP escort, no special treatment waiting at the gate.
Well, that makes, you just go, and Harry's probably thinking, I don't want the press anywhere near there. But she loves to, this is how need to be a wannabe. It's that wannabe need for fame. And therein lies the problem. And for her, it's a drug.
Instead, she was quietly guided away from the public area and taken into a private room. The door closed. Questions began. For more than an hour, there were no flashing cameras, no glamorous arrivals, no celebrity buzz, just tense silence and serious conversation that reportedly felt heavy and uncomfortable. Then the shock hit. The Duchess of Sussex was denied entry into the United Arab Emirates. Yes, completely refused. Officials placed her back on the exact same jet she arrived on. Within minutes, the story raced through airport terminals, diplomatic circles, and international newsrooms like wildfire. But the real twist was still coming. According to reports circulating among embassy insiders, Meghan reached out directly to the British royal family for help. Sources claim she asked for diplomatic support, pointing to her royal ties as Prince Harry's wife and the mother of 2 royal children.
Netflix will, allow their relationship with Prince Harry to expire, but they are holding on tightly to Meghan to work with Meghan in hopes that if there is a divorce, they would get the exclusive and pounce on that access to Meghan, because they know that that's the next big thing that would.
Think about that for a second. This is the same woman who previously described the royal family as cold, cruel, and even racist in public interviews. The same person who sat down on global television and shared deeply personal family conflicts with millions of viewers. Yet now, when trouble appeared, she reportedly looked back.
Prince Harry and wife Meghan Markle, they've just learned the hardest of lessons, which is, if you start a brawl, do not be surprised if you end up getting punched twice as hard.
Toward the very institution she had criticized. And the response? Ice cold. By February 5th, 2026, Buckingham Palace found itself in the center of a massive media storm. Reporters everywhere waited for a reaction, and when it came, it was short, sharp, and impossible to ignore. 17 words. The statement didn't come from an anonymous palace source or some quiet background briefing. It came directly.
Ruined Harry. Now that the once carefree, fun-loving prince has turned into a miserable moaner, lashing out from the depths of his paranoia at a world he thinks is conspiring against.
From Prince William himself, his message landed online like a thunderclap across royal watchers and global media. The British royal family will not provide diplomatic sponsorship for Meghan Markle. She no longer represents the crown in any form.
But this woman is nothing but a publicity whore. It's a term of art. We broke the news that she had Prince Harry on her vision board when she was younger. That was her goal, #goal, to marry Prince Harry. So it was all about getting the title. She's done that now. Now she's just stuck with this depressed ginger who has absolutely no family, no friends, and no money. This was not hashtag part of
Nor is she authorized to invoke our name for private endeavors. Let that sink in. There was no gentle tone, no vague royal wording, and no quiet attempt to soften the moment. This was clear public separation delivered by the future king. In modern royal history, it is extremely rare for a senior royal to distance themselves so directly from a family member, especially in such a public way, and the message did not stop there. A follow-up clarification made the line even sharper and impossible to misread.
There that she's still married. I mean, this woman's going to keep trying to get elevated with the next man because that's what she wants, because, you know, Harry at this point doesn't even have enough money for her. And so she needs to find the man that's going to really give her what she wants financially.
Her current activities, travels, and affiliations are not coordinated with nor endorsed by the royal household. The United Kingdom's diplomatic channels remain governed by His Majesty's government and respective consular authorities, not by spousal entitlement or media status. Those words landed like cold steel. Spousal entitlement, media status. The diplomatic wording sounded polished, but the meaning behind it was crystal clear. This was not
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over and they're no longer aligned in purpose. So it's for her, it's time to move.
A new poll reveals that the declining arc of Harry's popularity has accelerated into a high-speed
routine protocol. This was a boundary being drawn in bold, permanent ink. Prince William was not whispering through palace aides or leaking quiet hints to reporters. He delivered a direct message to the world. Marriage to Prince Harry does not automatically grant royal authority. Royal titles do not open diplomatic doors. Private business deals do not receive palace protection.
The idea that Harry will be getting his security back, which of course has not been formally confirmed, but is something that royalists like me very much fear, because it means he's going to be over more and more to try and cause trouble for William and destabilize the monarchy.
The line had been drawn clearly, publicly, and in a way nobody could ignore. Hollywood fame carried no weight in that moment. Even the Duchess title suddenly felt powerless. So what actually happened in Dubai to trigger such a massive royal shockwave? How did one of the richest, flashiest cities on earth suddenly slam its golden gates in Meghan Markle's face? Something serious had?
It's living a life that she's winning and she's doing all these great things, but the reality is not that. The reality is she's a joke. It's embarrassing at this point. It's like, oh my gosh, for real, Meghan, you did that? You're going to keep doing this? I mean, wow.
Clearly gone wrong. According to insiders familiar with UAE border operations and diplomatic procedures, Meghan's arrival did not exactly fly under the radar. She reportedly landed expecting high-level treatment the moment her jet touched the runway. Sources say she anticipated a VIP welcome with no delays, no questions, and a smooth red carpet arrival. The trip was supposed to launch her next luxury business move, including potential partnerships with elite golf brands and wealthy investors. Instead, the moment she stepped inside the airport, the entire plan began to unravel. She arrived looking flawless, dressed in runway-level designer fashion that sparkled under the airport lighting.
Because these billionaires can sense one thing. When you're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a solution. And that's obviously the lane that Meghan Markle's in now. She doesn't make really her own money. This whole Netflix thing is just a ruse. We all know this is made up just to give her something to. She's already gotten the benefit of her bargain with Harry because she got the title. That's what she wanted. She wanted to be world famous. She wanted the title. You remember when Harry was single, he was the elephant. That he was the one, the most eligible bachelor on earth. You could be a royal, you could become world famous overnight, you could live in a castle, you could have access to the crown jewels, you would be a princess. My God, yes, he could have had his.
Her entourage moved carefully beside her, keeping quiet and professional, following one clear rule: stay silent, stay polished. Every step had been designed to make the ultra-private trip look smooth and completely drama-free. But that carefully crafted image collapsed almost instantly. The moment she reached immigration, the atmosphere flipped instantly. UAE border officers stopped her for what looked like routine questions at first. Nothing dramatic, no raised voices.
I hate to repeat it, but this just doesn't make sense. Why are we seeing so much of this woman who doesn't have anything to offer us?
Well, that's the point. I'm not sure Prince Harry has much to, or Harry has
Oh, well,
much to.
hell to the no.
But within moments, she was quietly escorted into a private room for further review. Passports were examined carefully. Officials spoke in calm, measured tones. No shouting, no public confrontation. But the silence inside that room said everything. The signal felt unmistakable. Something about this entry wasn't moving forward. There was no long explanation, no negotiation, just a decision that flipped the entire trip upside down.
Actually told him that she would never return to the UK. And that absolutely backs up what I have said for so long, that she was plotting to bring down the British royal family, because otherwise she would absolutely have intent.
Within about an hour, Meghan was guided back through the airport terminal. Staff moved quickly, avoiding crowds and cameras as much as possible. Soon after, she was placed on the next available flight, leaving the country. No arrest, no dramatic headlines from officials, no public statement from authorities, and definitely no grand royal-style exit. UAE officials stayed completely silent afterward, and there's a reason for that. Under Article 11 of the UAE federal law on entry and residence, border officers have broad authority to refuse entry. They are not required to provide a public explanation, and in many cases there is no formal appeal process available. In other words, the decision can be final, immediate, and completely within their discretion. But according to several insiders, Meghan did not simply accept the outcome quietly. Sources claim that while arrangements were being made for her departure, she attempted to highlight her royal connections.
Telling you, Meghan's new publicity team, Meghan's new publicist is getting their money's worth. Between the last 2 weeks, Meghan is back in the game. They don't have anything of value to promote right now. This desperation we're seeing from Harry and Meghan is to establish themselves before William becomes king and strips them of any relevancy whatsoever.
Hoping those ties might help resolve the situation. And according to those same reports, that strategy did not work. Picture the contrast here. This is the same public figure who once sat with Oprah describing the royal institution as distant, controlling, and unsupportive. The same person who said she felt silenced within the system and chose to leave in search of independence and freedom. Yet in this,
everything she touches turns to shit. And I think every sort of creative person behind her or deep pocket behind her knows it's an extraordinary risk. She's too toxic to touch.
Moment, reports suggest she reached back toward the same royal circle, hoping they might step in. Sources connected to diplomatic networks in the region claim the request went beyond a simple inquiry. They say arguments were made strongly and repeatedly. 3 main points reportedly came up during those discussions. First, Meghan is still married to Prince Harry.
Woman is being paid millions of dollars to show how to cut into a pine,
who remains a member of the British royal family. Second, she is the mother of 2 children who hold royal titles recognized within the family structure established during Queen Elizabeth II's reign. And third, there were references to administrative matters involving schooling and residency connected to California. That final point is where speculation began swirling quickly among observers. Some insiders suggested those references could relate to broader legal or residency considerations connected to California's child protection and education registration systems. Whether those details had any relevance to the situation in Dubai remains unclear, but the rumors spread quickly. Meanwhile, Meghan's appeals reportedly traveled through diplomatic channels and eventually reached Buckingham Palace. And that's when things took an even colder turn. The response from the palace was not soft or vague. According to reports circulating in diplomatic circles, the message was short and final. Meghan would need to handle the matter through standard consular channels. No royal intervention. Prince William's follow-up communication reportedly reinforced that position. His message was described by insiders as precise and direct. Meghan Markle's current travels are a matter for the appropriate consular authorities. We will not intervene. Think about how significant that sounded. The future King of England effectively made it clear that the situation would not involve royal influence or diplomatic pressure, no special assistance, no palace protection, no behind-the-scenes rescue. For the first time in a situation like this, the line appeared completely firm. And then another senior royal voice reportedly added further clarity. Princess Anne, known for her straightforward approach, addressed Commonwealth officials and diplomatic contacts soon after the situation gained international attention. Her statement carried a clear message. Meghan Markle and her husband do not act on behalf of the crown, the monarchy, or the United Kingdom. Any attempt to link their actions to the institution is purely speculative, legally unsubstantiated, and rejected. The wording left very little room for interpretation. According to diplomats familiar with the briefing, the clarification also warned against using royal titles in connection with business ventures, promotional campaigns, media projects, or international deals. Even suggesting official royal backing for private ventures was described as misleading. The message landed across global headlines like a loud signal: Meghan and Harry operate independently, not as representatives of the crown. But the Dubai controversy might be only one piece of a much larger story. Behind the scenes, insiders claim tensions around the couple's California lifestyle had already been building for months. The glamorous Montecito image, the one filled with luxury, influence, and high-profile partnerships, was reportedly facing serious pressure. And according to several sources close to the property, new details about the Montecito situation started circulating quietly. Those claims suggest the couple's departure from the estate may not have been entirely voluntary. Reports mentioned growing disagreements involving property arrangements, renovation approvals, and financial obligations tied to the residence. By early 2026, those disputes had reportedly escalated beyond simple disagreements. On January 14th, 2026, sources say the couple officially left the estate. No dramatic confrontation, no cameras waiting outside, no shouting headlines that day. Just a quiet, cold ending to what many once called the Montecito dream. In the end, the paperwork told the story. Deep inside Santa Barbara County records, a quiet court filing spelled everything out in blunt legal language. No glossy headlines, no celebrity spin, just cold facts written in official documents. The image of royal glamour that once surrounded the Montecito estate was suddenly facing a very different reality. The protection of the crown was long gone, and now even the mansion that symbolized their California dream was slipping away. One short line in the filing said it all. The private lease would not be renewed due to conflicts with contractual property use. Simple words, but the meaning was clear. The landlord had reportedly reached the limit and decided not to continue the arrangement. Just like that, the doors closed. The departure was quiet, quick, and completely without Hollywood sparkle. Gone were the carefully staged interviews, the designer backdrops, the glossy brunch photos, and the luxury lifestyle that once filled headlines. What replaced it instead? Locked gates, legal paperwork, and a reality check hitting hard. And that was only the beginning. As their housing situation shifted, their business deals began unraveling too. One of the biggest shocks came from their highly publicized Spotify partnership. The deal, once valued at around $25 million, had originally been promoted as the couple's bold step into independent media power. By late 2025, that dream had reportedly fallen apart. Industry insiders pointed to several problems: limited content output, low listener engagement, and repeated disagreements over creative direction. What had been marketed as the start of a media empire slowly faded into a single podcast season that struggled to gain long-term momentum. One season from a massive deal, even Spotify eventually moved on without extending the partnership. The comeback story many expected never really took off. Instead of dominating the podcast world, the project quietly drifted into the background. Then came the next major shift, the Netflix partnership. At first, the agreement had been promoted as a massive global collaboration worth close to $100 million. Plans included documentaries, feature productions, and international storytelling projects designed to build a powerful media brand. But behind the scenes, insiders say the expectations and results began moving in very different directions. Reports pointed to mixed audience numbers, internal disagreements over project direction, and growing concerns about brand risk linked to constant controversy surrounding the Sussex name. By January 2026, several contracts reportedly reached their expiration point without renewal. No dramatic cancellation announcement, no press conference, just quiet expiration dates, and no new productions moving forward. Another major partnership fading out. One by one, the deals that once looked unstoppable were slowly disappearing. What had once been framed as a billion-dollar royal reinvention now looked far less stable, with partnerships shrinking and headlines becoming harder to control. Then another serious issue surfaced. The Archewell Foundation, once introduced as Meghan's philanthropic centerpiece, reportedly became the focus of regulatory reviews in both the United States and the United Kingdom. Authorities were said to be examining administrative filings, financial reporting, and compliance procedures connected to the organization. Investigations like these are often routine for international charities, but the attention added new pressure to an already fragile public image. At the same time, several former staff members filed civil complaints involving workplace disputes, including claims related to contracts and compensation. Legal processes around employment disagreements can take months or even years to resolve, but the headlines alone added more turbulence. And according to additional reports, certain partnership agreements tied to wellness and lifestyle ventures were also being reviewed to confirm that promotional claims matched contractual terms. All of it together created a growing storm of legal, financial, and reputational questions. Look at the pattern that critics began pointing out. Project after project seemed to run into trouble. Deals slowed down, partnerships faded, headlines kept turning negative, and then came a twist that surprised many observers. Tyler Perry, the filmmaker and producer, had once been one of the couple's most supportive allies. When Meghan and Harry first stepped away from the UK, Perry famously offered them the use of his Beverly Hills property, giving them privacy and security during an intense media storm. At the time, he spoke warmly about helping them during a difficult moment, but later reports suggested the relationship had cooled dramatically. Some claims circulated that financial disagreements and misunderstandings over personal support arrangements may have strained the friendship. Details remain unclear, and none of the parties involved have publicly confirmed many of the rumors, but the speculation alone created another wave of headlines. For many observers, the shift raised a bigger question: how do relationships that once looked unbreakable suddenly fall apart? One thing was certain: the circle of powerful allies that once surrounded the couple appeared to be shrinking. Meanwhile, Meghan reportedly still had plans waiting back in California. Her schedule included family commitments and preparations tied to Archie and Lilibet's upcoming school term, but none of those plans mattered in that moment. Dubai had already drawn its line. No royal connections changed the decision, and as the global headlines exploded, new whispers began circulating among diplomatic insiders. Some officials reportedly referenced what they called a 4-point risk assessment, near a confidential internal review that may have played a role in the entry decision. Under UAE law, border officers have wide discretion to deny entry, but according to the rumors, this case may have involved deeper considerations related to reputation, influence, and potential risk factors tied to international attention. If those leaks are accurate, the decision may have been far more calculated than it first appeared. Behind the quiet airport doors, something serious may have already been under discussion before Meghan's plane even touched the runway. Diplomatic sources say the situation may have started long before Meghan's plane even touched the runway. According to reports circulating among international observers, UAE authorities allegedly conducted a detailed image and risk review ahead of the visit. Officials reportedly examined high-profile arrivals carefully, especially when global media attention could follow. In this case, insiders claim Meghan's planned visit triggered extra scrutiny because of her global profile and the publicity that often surrounds her appearances. One issue that reportedly raised concern involved attempts by members of her team to accelerate entry clearance through informal contacts. Sources claim references to royal connections and international influence were mentioned during the process. In a country like the United Arab Emirates, that kind of approach can raise immediate caution flags. Government procedures around high-profile visitors are tightly controlled, and officials generally expect clear authorization before any diplomatic titles or royal affiliations are referenced. Then came the second concern: media sensitivity. Authorities reportedly worried that Meghan's arrival might attract a wave of publicity that could spiral quickly. Cameras, influencers, luxury brand teams, and entertainment media could have flooded the airport within minutes. Dubai is famous for luxury and global attention, but officials are known to carefully manage public events to avoid unexpected media chaos. As one insider reportedly put it, the concern wasn't celebrity itself, it was the potential scale of attention. The third point involved financial transparency connected to the visit. Investigators reportedly examined documentation tied to the business meetings Meghan planned during the trip. According to the sources, there were questions about how the visit was described in travel filings compared with the sponsorship or investment discussions tied to the proposed golf brand partnerships. Any inconsistencies in paperwork can trigger immediate review in countries with strict entry and investment regulations. And then there was the fourth factor, the cultural sensitivity. Officials reported reportedly evaluated whether the intense global media attention surrounding Meghan's recent controversies could create unwanted political or social distractions during official events happening in Dubai that same week. Countries hosting major international gatherings often try to minimize external controversies that could shift the spotlight away from planned programs. Taken together, these four concerns reportedly formed what insiders described as an internal risk assessment. Not proof of wrongdoing, not a legal judgment, but enough caution, sources say, for authorities to reconsider the entry approval. Within a short time, senior officials reportedly made the call. Entry denied, her passport returned, travel plans reversed. The trip ended before it truly began. What was supposed to be a glamorous international business visit instantly transformed into a global headline. Within hours, international media outlets began publishing breaking updates. Paparazzi footage surfaced, showing her team moving quickly through the airport while reporters attempted to capture the moment. Clips spread across social media at lightning speed. By the time Meghan reportedly arrived back in California, the story had already traveled around the world. Commentators began debating what the moment meant for her public image. Some PR experts described it as one of the most difficult reputation challenges she had faced since stepping away from royal duties. Because the issue wasn't just travel, it was perception. Supporters argued the situation had been exaggerated by media attention, while critics said the Dubai denial symbolized a much deeper shift in how institutions and governments were responding to her global profile. Sources close to Meghan reportedly said she felt frustrated and deeply disappointed by how the situation unfolded. Some believed the decision had political undertones, while others saw it simply as strict enforcement of local regulations. Meanwhile, royal commentators in the UK interpreted the moment differently. Many described it as a turning point in the long-running separation between Meghan, Harry, and the royal institution. Behind the scenes, reports suggested crisis management teams immediately went to work. Advisors held emergency strategy meetings. Lawyers reviewed media coverage. Public relations teams reportedly began revising messaging, while older promotional posts and announcements were quietly removed from online platforms. But once a story spreads globally, controlling the narrative becomes incredibly difficult. By mid-February, analysts were openly debating whether Meghan's carefully crafted public brand, built around independence, influence, and empowerment, was facing its biggest test yet. And one question kept appearing in discussions everywhere. Where was Prince Harry in all of this? Would he continue standing firmly beside Meghan as the pressure intensified? Or could the constant storm surrounding their public life eventually create deeper strain inside the relationship? People familiar with the couple have occasionally hinted that the past few years have brought long conversations, difficult decisions, and moments of quiet tension inside their California home. For Harry, the journey has been dramatic. Once the rebellious prince stepping away from royal rules, he now finds himself navigating a global media spotlight that never seems to turn off. Some observers believe the couple will rebuild and adapt again, just as they have after past controversies. Others wonder if this moment represents a crossroads, redemption, or reinvention. Only time will answer that question. But one thing is certain, the world is still watching closely, and if you've been following this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think really happened behind the scenes in Dubai? If this breakdown gave you a new perspective, subscribe for more deep dives into stories like this. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who would want to hear this.